Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Thursday. I'll give everybody another second to kind of jump on. I see people starting to pile in here, so I'll give it another second before we get started, okay? Okay, so we have 101. So it looks like most of the people have joined. So I'm going to get going because we have a lot of content to cover. So I want to thank everyone for joining another one of our webinars that we've been putting on. We've had a lot of feedback regarding Microsoft Teams, is why we brought in some experts today. So I want to thank Jose and Deanna, who are experts in Microsoft Teams and Microsoft in general. So thank you guys for joining the call today.
My pleasure.
Yeah, what's just some housekeeping before we get started. I'm going to pass it over to Jose to kind of lead us through at the beginning here. Just save any Q&As. I thank a few people that have reached out to me with some questions prior to the webinar today, so thank you. We'll definitely be touching on those, and I've already passed those on to Jose, so I'm sure he'll touch a lot on those today. But I'll save all the questions. If in the Q&A questions, just type them as you think of them, and I'll address them all at the end for you. But we have obviously a live demonstration today on Teams, some tips and tricks. So with that, I'll pass it over to Jose to kind of lead us through the presentation today. So Jose, go ahead.
Thank you, Ryan, and welcome everybody again. My name is Jose Maluf. I'm a Microsoft Cloud Specialist. And today we're going to be just talking about Microsoft Teams, an introduction on Teams, and show you a little bit of demo. Let's go to the next slide. And
hey,
in
Jose,
the agenda,
Jose,
sure.
are you able to just turn on your camera as well? So that'd be awesome.
Okay, perfect. So broadcasting live from the basement, working from home. So the agenda for today, we're going to be talking about Teams, quick introduction. I want to talk to you guys about also business voice, do a live Teams demo, talk a little bit about shifts and planner. And at the end, we're going to have some questions and answers. If you have any questions, I think they do have, Ryan, they do have the opportunity to write the questions in the chat window, right? Yeah, I think so. Perfect.
Absolutely, yeah. Please write them in the chat or the Q&A section. So someone's saying there's a lot of echo, so just let me know if that's consistent across, but I'll turn my microphone off.
Is it? Okay, perfect. So let's start. Let's start about talking about Teams. And there you go, Microsoft Teams. So what is Microsoft Teams? It's the hub for teamwork in Microsoft 365 and Office 365. As you can see, you can chat, you can meet, you can call, you can collaborate. With more and more users of Microsoft products working from home, small businesses and their employees are looking to find the right tools to manage their business documents. A user asked, should the business use Sharepoint, Teams, or something like OneDrive for Business? Well, one easy answer to that question would be Microsoft Teams to manage their documents, as it provides the functionality of SharePoint, the storage capabilities of OneDrive, and the usability of collaboration of two, all rolled into one. Since the launch of Microsoft Teams, Microsoft bundled many of its Microsoft 365 applications into one supercharged platform that is designed from the ground up to be a web-based collaboration space, including document management and storage. In fact, Microsoft Teams gives users the best of SharePoint, but with an entirely new front-end experience. Microsoft Teams lets a few people be owners, manage the files and memberships as they see fit, and encourage people to move away from it's a shared file, but instead use collaboration. Why share a file, then email, then phone about it, when you can have a team, and all the chat, meetings, updates, and the file itself in one place, and can be seen by everyone in the team without having to keep clicking the share button or referring back to your email or have remembered IM chat. I mean, everybody forgets the chat, right? And we're gonna talk about chatting in a little bit on how you can make it even more customized based on what you're looking for. Okay, so let's talk here. This is the next slide. Perfect. And we talk about Teams here. And we're gonna go, perfect. So have a look at this slide here. You know, Teams deliver a value and benefits to your entire organization. With Teams, you can offer one solution to your company for all of the productivity needs, and you're able to control all of that through one integrated platform. As I already mentioned, what I want you to have a look here, basically, it's at the highlighted sections I already highlighted here. This is what I found. I find that it will be key factors when we talk about Microsoft Teams. The first one is faster decision making. So in Teams, you have a group of people, a group of employees working together in the same team. Basically, you don't have to wait for somebody else. If you're using just emails and you're sending that email to the particular group, imagine then that they're going to reply back to you. That's going to take time. With Teams, it's a faster decision making that they can basically right away reply to your conversations. Beautiful. It's integrated with Office 365. So you don't have to have different applications to go back and forth. It's just within Microsoft Teams. Co-authoring, I'm going to show you also co-authoring in a little bit. And you could co-author in real time. So what is co-authoring? Meaning that two or more people can work in the same file at the same time. Your meetings are recorded in the cloud. So if by any chance you need to go back to a recorded meeting, you can basically just click on the recorded meeting and watch it via stream. And this is also a Microsoft platform as well. And this all secure. It's an end-to-end secure platform, meaning that Microsoft is keen in security, and they have positioned themselves as the leader in security in the IT business. So you've heard of Norton, and you've heard also of McAfee and other third-party security vendors. But Microsoft, with the latest survey from Gartner, it shows that Microsoft is the leader in security technology right now. This is just one chart, one slide that basically talks about Microsoft Teams. And you can see, you could access your file, you could send messages, you could reduce document versioning, you could run meetings effectively. Also, you could work together in groups or in teams. And we're gonna show you that in a little bit as well. Okay, so calling. Microsoft, on November 5th, 2018, they launched a new product called Microsoft 365 Business Voice. It is designed for customers or companies that has anywhere between 1 to 300 users. It includes audio conferencing, phone system, and calling plan. So basically, when you have a phone, you need the capability of receiving calls, making calls, and also, your calling plan. How many minutes do I have? With Microsoft 365 Business Voice, you have 3,000 minutes of outgoing and unlimited incoming. Also, we're going to show you in a little bit that with Microsoft 365 audio conferencing, when you schedule a meeting, there is a phone number, much more like Zoom, but there is a phone number that attendees could call in. Also, with the phone system, if you're in a meeting and you need to invite somebody out, in the meeting, you could call that person and they can join via the phone as well. You will need communication credits. That's easy. And you have two options here, a direct routing and number porting. What I found out that direct routing is a little bit complicated, and number porting is basically just porting your number, your existing number, from your telco provider into Microsoft 365 Business Voice. And that will be the best option between these two. And we're gonna go into the demo right now. So let me just say here. Any questions so far?
I don't have anything showing up yet, but I'm sure there will be as you get through the demo. I'm sure everybody has a lot of that are using it right now. They may have some specific questions, which just seems to be the questions that I had sent to you previously. So
perfect. And I have the questions right here. So are you able to still see my screen?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, good. So let's start here. Let me just move this one over here a little bit. The way I'm gonna show you the Microsoft Teams demo, I'm gonna start from the top right and then go all the way to the bottom left here. So on the top right, you could see I'm gonna use two different tenants. Those are demo tenants from Microsoft. This is not me. As you can see, this is somebody called Megan Bowen. And we can change, this is where you guys can have the opportunity to customize your Microsoft Teams. Again, this is all synced with Outlook. So if you are busy on Outlook because you have a meeting, Microsoft Teams will also show as a busy status as well here. And vice versa, if you change it from here, it will change on Microsoft Outlook as well. Just gonna go here quick on their settings and show you the different options here. With Microsoft Teams, you have the default theme, which is your regular interface. And sometimes for privacy, you go into the dark mode here, and it will change automatically. And let's say that somebody has some visual impairments and need that high contrast, they could basically just go into high contrast here. And as you can see, everything is high contrast. So those three options are available for you guys to be able to play around with and see which one suits you more. I'm just gonna go to the default one here. And the language, as I said, you have English. If you speak another language, you can just basically put the language there. Privacy, this is one of my favorites here. Let's say that you are on a do not disturb status. And when that's on, basically nobody's able to contact you. But I had a situation where I had that do not disturb button on, but my boss was basically trying to contact me and he couldn't. So at the end, he just called my phone, right? But I could just basically do an exception here and put his email address here. So if I receive any communications coming from him, I'm able to just see his notifications only. And this is where the access, as you can see, the description is, when your status is set to do not disturb, you can still receive notifications for chat, call, and mentions from the people below. So please pay attention to that. Also, in the notification section here, mentions, so what is mentions? So basically, if somebody's trying to point something specific to you, to your name, the way to do that, I'm gonna show you how to do mentions. But if somebody's trying to contact you, specifically you have two options to see that notification. It's either on a banner, email, or just only the feed. So Microsoft has already pre-set up this environment into what they see its best fit for the end user. But again, you could change that to whatever you want. And the calls you have also, if somebody's trying to contact you, you can basically forward your calls. You can configure your voicemail and the ringtone as well. And this is what basically your setting or customization place will be all around this area here. Now moving a little bit to the top center here, This is a search type of command that if you like to, there are some people out there that they like to basically, instead of just clicking, they just like to have some commands here, and Microsoft has provided that to them. In here as well, you could search, for example, for specific topics if you want to. But for commands, for example, I'm just gonna go into the / here, and those are the different commands that I could use. I could basically have myself available, change the status to away, to do not disturb. I can start a chat. I could go to a different file if I want to. I can, ask for help within Microsoft Teams for specific topics. I could join a meeting. I could join a team, and so on. So this is where basically you will use this search type of command. Also, if you need to, for example, find a specific person, if I go here and say, for example, Alex, and Alex is a user in this tenant with Microsoft, and if I need to chat with him right away, just basically just click on him here and start chatting and collaborate with Alex. Also, I could start a new chat. There's an icon here, looks like a small pen and a paper here. I could chat with the whole group with an email address. I can send, for example, a specific chat to a specific email address or just a person. So again, I'm just gonna type Alex here, and the same way I did with the search or type command here, I can do it with the chat. But this is specifically for chatting, okay? Going back here all the way up to activities. So in the activities, this is where basically you will keep up with everyday work. For example, if somebody's trying to mention you, this is where you will see on top the mentions. If you filter only to mentions, you will see this is the icon for mention here that I was talking to you about. This is where every single mention about Isaiah, which is the person here, it will show all around in the left side panel. Any questions so far?
I do have one question if you want to answer it now. Was while typing in a key word in the chat bar, bring up every time that word has to be used in your feed. I'm not sure if that's a. And then Nina asked, is the activity feed private, and i.e. you only see what is for you?
Exactly, only for you.
Okay.
So even though you are in different teams, but this is your team's environment, and anything that has to do with you involved in groups, teams, channels, or private channels, you could see it on your feed. But the question that was before, Nina, can you repeat that question for me, please?
Yeah, is the activity feed private, i.e. you only see what is for you?
Yes, only for you.
Okay, great. And Judy asked can you delete a chat once it's done?
Yes, you can. So, okay, so talking about the feed here, my activity, you can change that as well. This is only you, your activity and what you've done so far, and it goes by the date as well. Going into chats, in here I can start a new chat. I can see the previous chats. Again, this tenant is a brand new tenant. It has some pre-populated information there from Microsoft. But if you, let's say that a week ago I chatted with Isaiah before, I could see that chat window here as well. And the list go on and on. Let me see here. This is perfect. Okay. One of the questions that were asked was, my organization is on Teams and my husband's organization is also on Teams. Is there a way for us to create our own team so that we could communicate with each other while at our respective places of employment? Yes, there is a way. It's called guest access, and the guest access should be authorized by your administrator. So if you have that enabled, you're able to invite people from outside your organization. And I have created that here already. On my teams here, you could see that I have Contoso as, and I'm also here as a guest user for the Contoso environment. And this is about that specific questions that I am on one organization, and let's say Megan is in another organization. And with, if I create, for example, I'm just going to show you maybe how to do that. Let's go into Teams here. And I've created already a sample external user, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it again so you guys can see. If you can see here at the bottom left, join or create a team. I'm just going to go ahead here and create a team, building from scratch. I'm just going to make it private. I'm going to say test external user 2, create. And again, it has to be validated in the backend, in the admin portal, that you're able to accept external users or invite external users. Start typing a name or a group. I'm just going to say Jose Maluf. There you go. I'm just going to, and this is, again, this is outside this Contoso organization. I'm just going to say add. It's adding, close, and that's it. That way you could communicate with anybody. So yes, the question was about your husband being in another organization, but think about it more than that. You have vendors outside your organization, and you need to communicate back and forth with the vendors, right? Or maybe you have customers, again, outside the organization that you need to communicate on a daily basis. This is a very good way to, instead of just saying sample external users, just type the name of that particular company or vendor and start changing files from each other. Okay, I've received an email saying that I have been invited to be an external a guest into one of the Microsoft Teams at that particular organization, and this is how it will look. Also, just want to go back here into chatting. If I'm going too fast, please let me know. Also into chatting here, you could basically chatting. What is chatting? It's just like the name said, just chatting with one another. You could collaborate and exchange files. If you need to contact somebody right away that has, you guys don't have to share files, you could do that. If you need to contact somebody that's, you need to have them contact you really urgent. As you can see here, I've made that urgent. So an example is just finish the project, please. And I'm just gonna go back again here and say, thank you, make it important, okay, or make it urgent. Once you make it urgent, this notification will show on the other end user every 2 minutes for 20 minutes. So if I go here and send it, you can see, are you able to see this banner here, Ryan?
Yep, we can see it.
Okay, perfect. You can see that this is an urgent notification from Megan that's asking me to do something, right? So if I ignore it, it's gonna come back after 2 minutes. But if I go ahead and say, okay, basically I'm not acknowledging that I already saw the message from Megan. Teams. Okay, so this is where the magic happens. This is where you create teams within your organization and outside your organization. But within teams here, you could basically create different departments or different projects that you're working on. For example, you can see here there is a project team called Mark 8. There is the sales and marketing. That might be a department within the company. also the US sales. So all those different teams, you could have control of your workflow and have everything organized within teams. You could make also one of the teams here. Let me go to, this is the one that I created before. And I'm just gonna make sure that I'm gonna create another channel here. I'm gonna make it private. I'm just wanna go into private mode here. I would say private channel. That way you guys can see. I wanna show also tell you the difference about okay, there you go. Add, done. Okay, perfect. Now, we have 3 channels here. One is the general, where everybody within the organization, actually within this particular team, is able to collaborate, okay? So let's say this team has 10 people, and anything that I chat within the general channel, they're able to see. These 10 people are able to see and interact with each other. Let's say that I have a test public channel with only 5 people. Yes, it's only 5 people, but still the files that are organized within these particular channels are viewed by the 10 people in the general team, which is part of the sample external user. But on the private channel, if I only have 3 people, and yes, the whole team is made out of 10, but this particular channel, the private channel, you can see the icon here, only has 3 people. Those are the 3 people that only can share files, and they are the only ones who are able to see it. So the other 7 within the team are not able to see what is being shared in this private channel, kind of the confidential channel, let's say. If I'm, let's say I am on the testing public channel that has 5 people on, I could give them a call right away. You can use the Meet Now and call these 5 people. If I need to call just one person, they basically just go to the chat or to the call here, and basically just type the name and just call that particular person. But in Teams, it's made possible for you guys to call the whole group and not just dial name by name. Any questions, Ryan?
Yeah, so I have a couple here. Where within the admin portal is the guest option located?
Sure. In the admin portal, let me just move this here. Am I able to move this? There. Okay, perfect. Let me go this way. So there are 2 parts in the admin portal. One is in the Azure Active Directory that you have to enable the guests can invite, the members can invite also. And on the admin center, once you go to the admin portal, let me see if I have it open somewhere. No. This is the back end of Teams. And on the organization-wide settings, guest access, it has to be turned on as well. Allow guest access to team. If this is off and you turn it on, it will take about a couple of hours to kick in. So just be patient. If you think you don't see it yet, just give it a couple of hours, restart Microsoft Teams, and then you can see that you're able to invite guests to your organization. Okay. That's the only question, Ryan? Do you have another question as well?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. Again, as I said, this is all synced with your Outlook. So whatever you guys have scheduled on your calendar in Outlook is also scheduled here. And this is from a personal experience that I like to schedule meetings in the Microsoft Teams more than Outlook. The reason why, because it's really easy to do that. I could just meet now for just click here, meet now, and just meet somebody right there. Or I can create a new meeting. I'm just gonna go ahead and say 4:30, add the title, see you at 4. The attendees, I could add anybody here, let's say Alex. I'm just gonna go with the different email address. I'm gonna go with the Gmail address, okay? I'm gonna say josemalouf@gmail.com, just to show you that yes, you can do that. You could invite somebody from outside the organization. They don't have to be a member, they don't have to be a guest. Just anybody, let's say somebody in sales on the vendor side outside the organization, and you need to make that particular call, you could do that there. Invite the person, you send the meeting, and there you go. Do you want to repeat this every week? Yes, you can do that. And you could also invite a channel into the call as well if you want to. External, let me see. There you go. I could invite the whole team, or I could just invite the people in a particular channel, and then send it. And you'll see it within a couple of clicks. I already scheduling meeting with people outside in the organization and inside the organization. And let me just go back here. So we're just waiting for it to finish the scheduling. Again, this is a demo environment. It might take a little bit longer. But again, this is a previous meeting that was already made. I could cancel the meeting. Let's say that we had plans, or there were 3 people that took off that particular day and we didn't know. We could cancel the meeting. You could reschedule if you want to another day, and then send the update if you want to. Also, something that when we schedule meetings and we're not aware of is this schedule assistant. This scheduling assistant will show you if you need to contact, have a meeting with certain people, if they are available or not. Somehow here, these people, we're not able to see their availability, but the different slots here per hour, per day, will show if they are busy or not, and that will give you, the best chance to book everybody when they are free. Okay, I'm going to set this card here, and going back into calls. This tenant here does not have the business voice enabled, so I'm just going to switch to another tenant here. As you can see, this is another tenant. This tenant has the Microsoft 365 business voice enabled, and you can see here, you have when you click on the call section, you can see your phone number over here. You could dial somebody outside your organization, because inside, if you're going to call somebody within Teams, you don't need the Microsoft 365 business voice. You have your history, you have your voicemails, and the nice thing about it is that you could hear your voicemail from here. I'm not sure if you guys are going to be able to hear it, but let's say that you don't have speakers on your computer, okay? Your computer is very old and you don't have speakers. It transcribed that message for you on the right side here. So you could read it instead of hearing to it. Any questions here, Ryan, about business voice?
Not so far about business voice. A couple from previous, I guess, if you want to answer these. Actually, when you start a call from within a team, it does not seem to ring for the others. Is that a setting that can be changed?
Yes. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to go and switch tenant, go into Teams here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to I'm going to call myself. So this is the web-based tenant, and I also have a desktop application running with that particular organization being as the guest there. So if I go ahead and I call myself from Megan, you could see that it says here Megan is calling me. So if I go here, I could basically just gonna, yeah, I was hearing myself. I could basically, yes, hear it. It has to be with the ringtone. So please make sure that you have your ringtone the way you want, and you could change it from the settings, calls, and the ringtones here. Okay. What's the other question, Ryan?
What happens if you type a word in the search field as opposed to the commands?
Yeah, so let's say here that I'm just gonna find something within EOD. Okay, I'm just gonna take this as the keyword EOD. So just gonna go to activity, and I'm gonna type here EOD, and let's see what happens. There you go. So it searches for that specific keyword that I'm looking for. Let's say I have 200 chat windows right there, and I spoke with Alex 4 weeks ago about EOD. It takes time for you to go, to specific chat window and find that specific keyword. With the search bar, you could just, type the keyword and go directly into the chat window and start, looking for that specific keyword. There you go, EOD.
I've got a quick question. Is Business Voice included on all subscriptions, or is it only on certain ones?
No. So Microsoft 365 Business Voice is just one subscription that includes the audio conferencing, phone system, and the calling plan as well, the 3,000 minutes. So this is just one SKU that you could just basically add it to any particular user, and the tenant should be having for, let's say that you have 350 users in the company. There is an option to go that way, to go, higher, but this is designed for 300 and below. So it's just one SKU. Once you apply it, if you don't have a phone number, Microsoft will, give you a phone number, brand new. You could start using Business Voice within a couple of hours. And let's say that you're porting a number from a telco provider to Microsoft Business Voice. It takes about 2 weeks, but that doesn't mean that you will lose connectivity with your telco provider. Once the porting is done, then you can start using your phone with Microsoft. But in the meantime, when the work of porting is being, done by the Microsoft and the telco provider, you could still use your phone with the telco provider. Did I answer your question?
Yep, that's perfect.
Thank you. Okay, so we were in calls, and you could, assign speed dial if you have somebody that you call often. You could just go here, and I could say add to speed dial if I want to. There you go. That's my speed dial right there. This is the person that I want to call the most every day. I don't have to go, let's say I have 50 people here, 50 employees. Just go right there to the top, and I can see who I want to call. Also, remember when I said, if you want to share a file on your email and then have that particular person calling you back and say, hey, I did some changes in the file. Can you see the changes and reply back to me? So that takes time, right? So with Microsoft Teams, you can have access to all the files that are being shared with any particular team in Microsoft Team within this particular icon here. And let's say that you have 25 teams, right? And but it's only about 30 files that you're working on. You could basically access those 30 files from this particular icon here on the left side, and it's called files, so guys don't have to get lost in there. and start seeing. I can open it, from here, from Microsoft Teams. And I do also want to show you how I do co-authoring. This is something that was asked as well. So let me go back into Teams here. I have my sample external user, and the files that are with this particular team. Let me go back here. Files. Okay. This is the file that I'm working on, this particular team, and the guest, somebody who has a guest access into this particular team has also the capability of editing the file. So if you're working with somebody outside your organization, they have also the capability of co-authoring, not only people inside, but also the people outside the organization. So I'm just gonna go ahead and open it here, go to highlights, and click on this cell here, the B18, which is the year 1. I'm just gonna go here also as well, go into Teams, and again, this is me as a guest user on Contoso organization. And let me just move here, go to Files, open the file, go to Highlights, and click on any cell here. Now, I don't know if you can see, but year 1, Megan Bowen is working on it. And I'm just gonna go ahead and do some editing here. I'm just gonna say year 12. And how fast? Within seconds, you can see that it's been changed. So I could say here, maybe if I do this here, you guys can see what I'm talking about. And you can see also how co-authoring works. Hi, Megan. I've been working on this file too. Enter. So Megan on one side and me on the other side, we could see co-authoring in real time. And this is something that you could have, bunch of people working in the same file in different, tabs here. They don't have to be in the same tab. They could, I could be working on milestones and somebody else could be working on startup. And this is, this is what collaboration is all about. So if you have questions around this particular topic, please make sure to, to ask Ryan at Consys. And, or if you want to ask right now, please go ahead. Okay, talking about collaboration here. Just gonna go ahead and close it. As soon as I close that, I'm already out. And you cannot see me there anymore. And also here, you could see who is working with it. Maluf Jose has this work open, but I already closed it. So it should tell me that I already closed that. Let me go back here. Open it back again. Open it back again. Perfect. And my name should not be there. So we talk about co-authoring. Any questions so far about co-authoring?
Nothing about co-authoring, but we might circle back to business voice.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is there an option with business voice not to replace all your calls? We would want a number only to use only when someone is not able to connect to a meeting via their computer.
Yes. So let me do, let me see, this is the tenant here. Yes. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and create a meeting here. Again, just sample, I would say Jose, Aluf, add Jose, send the option. There you go. Now, just want to show you how it looks. Now, this particular user has M365 Business Voice enabled to that user. And the way the invite, when it's sent, if you did not have the Microsoft 365 audio conferencing or Business Voice activated, you will not see this part here, okay? But since you have it, you're giving the other participant a chance to log in into the meeting via a phone number. That the question, answer the question there?
I think so. Yeah. If
Yeah.
we need it re-answered, just type it in the chat. I do have another question here as it relates to SharePoint. Does the file sharing on Teams integrate with SharePoint?
Yes.
Well, while you file, will sync the file to SharePoint, or how can you make it sync? There's people making changes within Teams. Sorry.
Yeah, it syncs automatically. Okay, so anything that you change on Microsoft Teams, it's being synced with SharePoint. But now the question is, what if you change something on SharePoint? Will it be synced on Teams? And the answer is yes, but with a little bit of modification. Okay. Okay, perfect. There were a couple of questions in regard of, there are two features here that I want to mention to you guys. One is called Shifts and Planner. And it comes with also with Microsoft 365. And what it does is basically with Shifts, this is where you could manage the scheduling for your particular team. I'm just going to go ahead and click on this icon here. If you haven't used Shift, or let's say that you are a person in your organization that takes care of scheduling, Shift will help you really manage the time schedule for the employees, also allowing them to see what time, what time do they have to start that particular day, what time they have off. They can swap the schedules from one user to the other, and once it's swapped, basically they don't have to get the approval from anybody, because if I'm swapping my time with somebody else, I'm covering him and he's covering me, and Shift will make that available. You could see that the whole screen here is integrated around how to schedule times for your particular team. It gives you here on top the dates. Also, let's say that I'm just going to go ahead and create specific shift for this user here. It's a 9-hour shift. I could, custom the label here. This is on, let's make it June the 2nd. And I'm just going to go ahead and add the activity here. And the name will be 15 minutes. I might call it a break for 15 minutes. Done, and save it. So I created a shift for Alex from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. On June the 2nd. So let's say this is the schedule for Alex for the whole week. I could basically just go ahead and say copy and paste it here with the Control-C, Control-V command. In here, I'm just going to go and say, make it purple, save. I could say here, this is a time off for him, save. And if you want it to be paid, you could basically just change it to paid. Also, you could see that, this was supposed to be from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., but now it's an off day pay, unpaid. And going to the planner now. Again, if you have questions around shifts, please make sure to reach Ryan at Consys. I think they will be able to explain to you a little bit more about that as well. Now, let me go to Planner. Any questions there?
No, that's great. Yeah. Again, anything that wasn't covered here, feel free to reach out to Alex, myself, or any of our technicians, and we'll be happy to help you through this.
Perfect. And in Planner also, let's say that you're working in different projects and you want to make sure that, you know, you have different stages where you could see, for example, here, the stage of not started, in progress, or completed. If I'm going to go ahead and say, for example, let me go to Planner here. Perfect. This is the Planner for this particular user. I'm just going to say here, I'm going to add a task here. I'm going to call it, for example, Project X. I'm going to set a due date for this, which is going to be next week. I'm going to assign it to Alex, and that should be enough. I'm going to add the task here. Now, if I go back to Teams, I should see that already there, which I did not. Okay. Project X, set the due date for tomorrow, assign Alex and Megan. I'm going to say the task. Okay, perfect. That might be because this tenant is already refreshing. But anyways, this is how you guys would add the task here on Planner, and then you could basically see that particular task within Microsoft Teams, so you don't have to go back and forth. If you're starting on this particular task, you could move that. You could say, for example, in progress, and it moves from not started to in progress here. And once you guys completed that, basically just click on here, click on completed, and it moves from the in progress to your completed section here. So that way, you guys, if you have different projects, and then you want to see, you know, when is your due date for each particular project, you could project management type of interface here. Really good for those companies that are looking into this as well.
I got a quick question about backing up Teams. So one of the things I learned the hard way is when you delete something, it's gone. It's gone. So what we need to know is there a way to back up files? What do you recommend? We have some formats that we can back up everything, except it seems like conversations. And I know they're working on archiving as well. That's something that's coming down the line. But this is probably important for people to realize, like, hey, be careful who you give access to. So I just want your thoughts on that really quick.
Yeah, so Microsoft announced recently that chats, files, they're all being backed up. And you have retention policy as well, just in case you delete those, somewhere between the 90 and 180 days. And depends on the license as well. Let's say that your license expired. You will have, for example, 90 days to be able to retrieve those documents. And if you delete it by accident, you would be able also to retrieve that. And this is a new thing with Microsoft.
Okay, good.
Diana, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. Do you have any other information about this?
No, I think you covered it perfectly. And again, it's back to depend on what you're talking about when it comes to delete, right? For example, if we go back to Teams and channels, let's say you delete a channel by mistake, you can still go back to the Teams setting and manage Teams and restore that channel. So it's not gone. It's still there. You can restore it. Right, and for the rest of the details about the backing up, I would refer to what Jose just mentioned with regards to like the retention policy, where the data is. So yes, back to that point is like there are so many details to it. again, back to what you're referring to when it comes to delete, but there are data that are already available, like you can just restore it from the same place. And there are also data that you need to check with the admin to restore it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Perfect.
There is one, anything about Planner before I move just to a particular question that was asked?
Yeah, there's a couple actually. So does Planner connect to tasks in Outlook 365?
Yes.
Okay, and then can you use shared calendars in Teams?
Shared calendars in Teams. Shared calendars in Teams. Let me go. You should be able to do to see your shared calendars in Teams as well. I haven't used it myself. I can find some information and maybe send it to you, Ryan. You can send it to that particular person.
Yeah, no problem. I'll just reach out to that person individually.
Okay, so let me just write it here. Or maybe you can send me the question on an email, then I can answer those questions.
No problem. That's great.
Let me show you something here. There was a question that I'm on a meeting and I need to call somebody into the meeting. Can I do that? Yes, you can. Just want to show you this quick here. Just gonna go into this meeting. Okay, maybe not that one. Maybe this one here. I'm gonna say join. Okay, not now. Continue without, yeah. So join now. And participants. Now in here, you could basically just insert the phone number, a 1416 number, and call the person directly, and they could join the meeting. So this is the way for you guys to invite people outside your organization just to join via a phone call. Okay, and let me go back here. Yeah. Okay, and there are many apps within the App Store in Microsoft. I don't know if you guys had the chance to look into different apps. Just want to show you here quick. There are some apps that you guys are already part of. For example, Trello, okay? Cisco WebEx meetings. What else here? Let me see. Evernote. And you guys are paying a subscription. You could basically add those particular connectors into Microsoft Teams or these apps and start using those from within Teams. So you don't have to, jump from Microsoft Teams and then go, let's say, to Evernote or any other application. You could basically include anything within Microsoft Teams here. And Microsoft have this categorized, by topics, what's new, education, human resources. If I click on human resources, if you are in the human resource department, maybe there are some applications here that you're familiar with. If I click, let's say, on communities, I could add that to my Microsoft Teams and access communities within Teams. So I don't have to, if there is a website specifically for communities, I don't have to go to that website. I could just log into Microsoft Teams and keep working within Microsoft Teams. Also, the last part that I want to mention is the help section here. I know some of us would like to see how, for example, create a channel. And let's say that you guys, it's in the middle of the night, Ryan is sleeping, and anybody in the technical team is sleeping. And what would you do? You need to create a channel which is due on Monday. It's a Saturday night. And how do you do that? So basically, if you type whatever you're searching for here, I'm just going to go say create channel. Microsoft Teams will tell you a step-by-step on how to create a channel. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that here. And it explains you in details on how to do that. If you need to share a file, say share file. Also, share a file in Teams, share a file with someone outside your team in Teams. There you go. And then just click on the link and it will show you how to do that on the desktop, on mobile, and so on. And I think that's it. On time? Yes? No? Ryan?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we'll just, there's some other questions, and if anybody else has any questions, just put them in there right now. But Chris would like to ask, would you need an Office voice plan to add someone via phone number?
You need an Office, yeah, you need an Office 365
Yep.
license, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Which we can help with, Chris, as well. The other one was, is there a way to disable the webcam from opening right away when in a meeting with people?
So let's, well, in here, I won't be able to show you. Let me see, can I do this here? Settings. Okay, so in here, you have on the settings, it didn't show on the web-based Microsoft Teams, but on the desktop app, it shows when you have devices here. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's, there you go, permissions. You could basically disable your camera, microphone, and speaker. There you go.
Great. I do have one more question here, or two more questions. How many channels can you have within Teams?
How many channels can you have? I think it's about 250.
Yeah, I believe you're correct.
Yeah.
Last question here. If I receive or would like to schedule a meeting within a client, with a client via Outlook, is there an app option to expedite through Outlook to Teams calendar rather than moving to Teams and adding manually?
Yes, you can. You can. Once you have, there are some licenses. For example, the Exchange Online Plan 1, that is only for email. And let's say that you're using a Microsoft Outlook perpetual license. You don't have the capability of doing that. But if your Office 365 license has Teams with it, once you go into the calendar and create a meeting, you have, let's say that you have an option for Zoom and Teams. You could say, for example, I want to go to Teams and create a meeting within Teams. And you can do it from Outlook. You don't have to go to Microsoft Teams to do that.
Okay, that's great. Alex, if I can call on you quickly, well, I'm just going to share a little bit of my screen here to finish up this call. If there's no other, there's no others. Alex, what's your experience? We've integrated this right into Consys, and I think it's gone very, very well. But what has your experience been like?
Yeah, I'll talk to that. So actually, this was prior to COVID, and I mean it's even more relevant now because everybody's working from multiple locations. But what we were finding is we needed a way to communicate within an organization and employees. Some are on the road, some are off the road, some are in the office, some are at home, and we thought like, hey, we really need a method of communication. And what we found is Teams really enabled us to. The irony is that I think every other form of communication feels so archaic now to me that even picking up a phone and calling somebody is actually vastly more inconvenient now for us, because I can just say, hey, I need these 3 people in a call, bam, 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 call, and everybody's instantly in my screen. I can record, share, we can collaborate working on things, and I can send out invitations, I can join meetings from my calendar. It's just, it literally has changed the way we work. Not only is it great because you have centralized file storage as well. So we'll have a project and we'll create a team and we'll apply all the people who are relevant to it. And then we can chat back and forth. We can have instant meetings. We can basically have all sorts of files that we're all working on simultaneously. So, I mean, if anybody's ever worked on an Excel file, you know, it's pretty good, but imagine you have 5 people simultaneously working on a large project on one single file. It's actually very efficient the way it does it. Same thing with Word documents, same thing with anything really. So it's changed our world. We're happy to share it. And I think it's honestly going to be the way of the future. So instant calling, instant text messaging, instant file share, it's all at your fingertips. Eventually, I'd like to be able to just invite somebody from a phone into our meetings, the external context, but I'm not sure how far